Alright, welcome to the weather forecast video for Wednesday, the 20th of August, 2025. Start things off, the current temperatures around the state. Cooler in the upper 50s, low 60s in the hill towns. From the valley on south towards the shoreline, we're into the mid 60s. We could get into the, there we go, could get into the low 70s from the valley on south for southern Connecticut. Depends on what happens with the clouds. I had the high of 70 in Hartford today, but we could stay in the upper 60s if rain comes in a little quicker. Here's the current satellite view, or sorry, the current radar view. You can see we have a lot of rain around us to the north, and this is slowly going to sink to the south throughout the day. And we could see some locally heavy rain today, as one computer model shows that batch of rain sinking to the south, and we could get some training downpours. There's a low risk of flooding today. This is that same model for total rainfall. You can see widespread ½ inch to 1 inch of rain with a couple little pockets of inch or more rain. So it could see locally, I'd say we could see locally 1.5 to 2 inches of rain if those best downpours set up over Connecticut. All right, so here's your weather headlines. Again, locally heavy rainfall possible today. Localized flooding, ½ inch to 1 inch of rain. Locally 1.5 to 2 inches. Hurricane Erin stays offshore. However, it gets close enough to bring large swells to the east beaches from Rhode Island up into eastern, southeastern Mass. And then we get into a pattern with below average temperatures. Average highs in the right around 80, or maybe a little bit below. We'll stay in the 70s for a little bit. There's a storm risk on Monday. It doesn't look like too big of a deal. And then overall, the pattern is fairly dry as we head over the next week or so. Here's your satellite loop or infrared satellite loop of Hurricane Erin. You can see it's kind of developing a little bit of an eye feature. It's a very large storm system now. You can see this is a little bit old, but the hurricane hunters are circling this storm. You can see the highest winds are way out into the eastern side of the storm, not even close to the center. Yeah, the pressure is down into the 940s now. It's strengthening a little bit. Won't get too much stronger wind speed wise, but we could see a deepening storm as this transition to an extratropical system. Here's the current track. Again, it's Category 2 hurricane, maximum sustained winds of around 100 miles an hour. As of the 8 a.m. advisory, gusts up to 120 pressure. As of the 8 a.m. advisory, 948 millibars. However, there are finding pressures a little bit lower than that. It's moving off to the north-northwest at about 13 miles an hour. You can see that orange area, that's the large swath circulation of tropical storm force winds. The red is your damaging winds of 58 miles an hour or greater. And that purple area is winds of hurricane force. Thankfully, the damaging winds to hurricane force winds stay offshore. However, we could see strong tropical storm force winds along the coast of North Carolina into Virginia, maybe even Maryland. We could see storm surge values of 1 to 3 feet, with 2 to 4 feet on the Outer Banks, with the persistent about northeast wind there. So here's the current alerts related to Erin across the eastern seaboard. You got the purple area stretching from Florida all the way to the Cape and Islands. Those are high surf advisories. You have coastal flood watches and warnings from Long Island all the way down into Georgia, it looks like. And then we have tropical storm warnings for the Outer Banks up into southern Maryland, into Virginia. I think there is a tropical storm watch on land there. And then we also have a storm surge warning that's not pictured here, but for the Outer Banks where you could see this 2 to 4 feet of storm surge. And then closer to home, these are the swell heights potentially late Thursday night into Friday morning. You could see the southern Rhode Island coast could see waves in excess of 8 to 12 feet potentially. And then the Cape eventually by Friday, early Friday morning, could see waves in excess of 12 feet as well. 7-day forecast shows temperatures remaining cool over the next 2 days through tomorrow with clouds and rain. The clouds should break late tomorrow. Could be treated to a great sunset across parts of Connecticut with Erin's outer cloud fields. Temperature warm up by this weekend into the low 80s as well, And then the storm risk by Monday, and then we could start cooling things off again by later next week. That's your weather forecast video, and if you live in the Carolinas and dealing with Aaron, stay safe out there.